2021.
Yes.
Not really sad about that at all. I'm Greg Gnyp. It's, of course, you know I'm the Gnyp. There's my Gnop over there, our Gnop, our little friend, Chris Yazinski. Hi, buddy.
Thank you, man. Thank you. How are you? Happy.
You know what? Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's Eve.
Sure. Happy New Year's Eve to you too, sir.
I'm doing okay. Hey, how about you?
I'm about to have some amazing port that you actually gave me as a Christmas gift.
Well, I you know what? Winter time, honestly, by the time middle of December hits, I'm into like the fortified wines.
It is absolutely wonderful, this stuff.
Good, thank you. I'm glad you. And one of the things that one day I'm going to have to get for you, I'm going to have to get, because I love port wines and I even like some sherries and things like that. But one of my new ones, and thanks to a really good friend of mine, Trish, she introduced me to something called Banyuls, which is a French version of port. It's from the Pyrenees, and it's delicious.
Yeah, no, this stuff is awesome. It's grams from, is the Portuguese, you know?
Yep. So there you go. Good. I'm glad you're enjoying, my friend.
It's wonderful.
You know, why not? I'm just gonna,
let it snow.
I'm just sticking with a coffee, but I bought some of those flavored creamers.
Okay.
And you know, so today I'm having a caramel mochaccino whatever latte coffee, but you know, it's sugary and it tastes good.
A word of advice, make sure the lid is on that thing when you put it back in the fridge, because one fell out and I can't tell you how many days it took to clean that up. So
I can only imagine.
Too long.
Because somehow because even in a coffee cup, it somehow kind of coats it somehow. So I that's terrible. So 2021 almost
2021. Gone. Fuck it.
I gotta be honest, I'm not really sad to see it go. I mean, cheers. I mean, the good part about 2021 was so far we've made it this far through it. You know?
Except for Facebook. For some reason, Facebook Live has blocked us. So we'll figure that out hopefully for the new year.
What have you been doing wrong? I mean, have you been posting
I don't know.
like anti-something messages on your Facebook page?
Too many I miss David Bowie's, I think.
Oh, that could be it. That is it. Yeah, but
they're haters.
You know, I mean, let's be honest. This year's been trying. I have to say, I can honestly say that there were times this year that I kind of sat like on my couch like this, just not even like just staring, kind of like just in that weird 2021 fog. So.
Squid Games? Is that what did it?
What's that?
That's how you watch the Squid Games, right?
The Squid Games. You know, okay. All right. You know, that was one of the big things of 2021.
Sure. Absolutely.
Watched 15 minutes and realized that I never need to watch 15. That was 15 more minutes of my life that I probably will never get back.
I enjoyed it.
See, I didn't.
I got through it and went, wow, okay, I get it.
Yeah. See, I was kind of hoping like the Squid Games was more like, you know, it was going to be more like, you know, something to do with like a cooking show, but you know,
because there's not enough of those. Holy shit, there's not enough cooking shows or bake-offs or
you know what,
done it shows.
Yeah,
whatever.
See, it's so funny you say that because, you know, I was telling a friend of mine, I said I have a bit of a crush on someone. And they're like, who's that? And I said, well, it's not a crush, but Lydia, from Lydia's Kitchen. You know the older Italian woman?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I know who you're talking about.
But you know what I love about her? Is she just cooks really basic. And when I say basic, it's stuff that I can't figure out myself. But she makes this good, solid Italian meals. And at the end of, when she gets ready, first of all, it's a cooking show. None of this, you know, let's make the most crazy cake ever. And we won't tell you how we made, how we made it, because so now it's just a game show. But then she's always like, you know what you need to do before you start to eat? You open up the bottle of wine.
There you go.
And I'm like, God bless you, Lydia. You and I could be best friends.
Yeah. So, you know, there are a million of those shows, right, where you have to make this elaborate cake. We saw one the other day that was actually really kind of disgusting me because people had to make bridges, and it was actually architectural. It was like baking engineering, and it was like, what the fuck are you gonna do with all that food? You're just wasting food. Like, it just made no sense to me at the end of that show. I'm going like, this is just ridiculous.
Well, that and the other thing is, have you ever watched these shows? You never watch anyone ever wash their hands.
And they only have 4 minutes to do that cake.
Well, that's the thing. Like the TV show Chopped on the Food Network. Here's your 4 ingredients. You know, it's like Latvian deep fried, ostrich eggs, blood sausage,
Kishka.
This, and then they make this whole thing, and it's kind of like it's exactly that. Well, what are you going to do with all that other extra food?
Right.
Meanwhile, there's people going through trash cans picking
I hear
up,
I hear you.
You're right.
So we're going to do this year end kind of show. It was actually our good friend Arlen who suggested that we should at least go back on air and do this show. maybe put some positivity back in the world, but I don't know. It's a tough crawl, buddy. It's a real tough crawl.
It is, but I got to be honest. You know what? There's been a couple of things that I've really actually been a fan of this year.
Okay.
There's been some cool music that's come out.
Okay.
And I have to say, there's and it was funny when we were talking about some stuff, and I said, well, there's 3 that kind of I really like that, and they're all different.
Okay.
Wanda Jackson came out with a new song, right? I mean, she's 65 years old, I think, and she still sounds like she's 25. And it was cool because it was Wanda Jackson. She did it with Joan Jett.
Okay.
And the song is called Treat Me Like a Lady, and it's got this honky-tonk sound and this awesome, it's one of those kind of songs that, if you're going to do laundry or you're cleaning the house, it fits that whole thing. So one of my favorite. So I have a thing for Lorde. I really do. That second album, a lot of people hated it. I didn't think it was horrible. Then she took the break. She had some issues. She said it was with her dog dying and all this kind of stuff. One thing led to the other, and she took a break. She came out with a song called Solar Power.
Okay.
Awesome. She came back, and it sounds like she's kind of rediscovered her roots, her beginning, but made it more her, like, for someone who's a little older now.
Right.
And then I had no idea when the first time I heard this song. It's called Leave the Door Open, and it's from a group called Silk Sonic.
Yep.
Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak. Have you heard the song?
I have.
Like, seriously, that song is just sex.
Yeah.
It is just
And it has
sheer,
a big retro feel to it as well.
Yeah, like it's that 70s R&B, 70s soul where you're just kind of like, man, I just want to.
Right.
How about you? Was there anything that you were big on this year?
For me, this year, music-wise, it was a lot of the stuff that was old. To be honest with you, I'm kind of rediscovering Warsaw. Because we've been chasing down Peter Hook before they get on tour next time to come on the show.
And by the way, we did get that restraining order. Speaking of,
Right. And and David J's coming on in the new year, so kind of went through the whole catalog of Love and Rockets and Bauhaus. And I find what's really, really interesting is and what Matt Johnson's been doing recently. I ended up buying a piece of art from Matt Johnson this year too. That it was like a limited thing that came off of his last tour. And we can talk about art all together because there's been some crazy shit going on with art, especially in the digital world. But a lot of people are now getting back into doing great art. Brian Eno, for instance, just put out a wonderful art exhibit a couple months ago, and out of that came that turntable. That's an LED turntable with a glass platen. Right. And he developed that because a number of years ago, he was doing installations in cancer centers in England. And it would be like this kind of ambient music with ambient lighting that kept changing, and it was really relaxing. And would design these things and install them in cancer centers. And he
Okay.
took that theory of making people, more relaxed and more positive, and he's done a whole bunch of installation art too, where you can buy something. It's like a box that hangs on the wall and it changes colors and does things. And he signs them all too, right? It's original art. But what was really cool was he made 50 of these turntables, and they sold out in like 3 seconds. I don't even know how much they were. I think they're going for like £4,000. And for those who don't know Brian, obviously a member of Roxy Music, and an incredible record producer of U2, Talking Heads, including his own music. So good for him. Good for him.
Yeah.
He's really getting on top of his game now.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, so, and it's funny, you were saying some of the digital stuff. I said the one thing though that I've noticed that with people advancing the digital artwork, there seems to also be kind of a lot of people have kind of rediscovered the old artwork, putting their, a paintbrush in paint and starting back onto canvases and things like that again. So it's kind of neat how the new wave has kind of also made people rediscover some of the old stuff too.
Yeah, I follow cryptocurrency. The whole crypto.com thing I find really fascinating. But I really don't understand, and I get all their art releases. So every day you get bombarded by 5 or 6 emails of all these people releasing this art, and I'm like, I just don't get it. I just don't understand it. How something digital can be so limited, and I don't know. I don't know how do you enjoy that art?
I don't understand it, but you know what? Again, and that's the beautiful thing of artwork, right there. Is my mom used to always tell me, one was, Greg, you're an idiot. But the other thing that my mom would always tell me too is
she was right.
Yeah, well, she was. Oh yeah, but she used to always tell me, never tell people that is bad music.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right, because because the one thing she would always say is, she's like, there are people who truly like it. It doesn't mean it's bad. It's just not your taste.
Then explain K-rock.
What's that?
Then explain the whole K-pop phenomenon.
I got to be honest, flat out, I love K-pop.
Oh God.
I love some of that, maybe not BTS as much, because I think they've gone away a little bit away from K-pop, but some of it. So in Toronto, so my sister and my brother-in-law live in the Toronto area.
I hope this year gets done quicker.
And I'll tell you, we've gone to a couple of Korean, like, barbecue chicken joints.
Sure.
Where they have, like, the TVs up and they've got K-pop playing and the whole thing. There's something about it that's really infectious when you're around a lot of people who are into it as well. Now, is it something that I really want, that I would listen to every day? But it has its place. I think it does have its place.
Okay. Sure.
Oh, come on. One day you're going to dance with me and we're going to be dancing down the street to some K-pop song.
Oh my God.
You just wait.
There's not enough port in the world to do that. There's just not enough port in the world. So, hey, look, a whole bunch of crazy shit's gone on this year politically, too, around the world, and especially in Canada. I mean, in Canada, we famously had an early election that had
did so much.
that had the exact same results of where we were already at. And we all kind of went, okay, so we just pissed away like $600 million on an election, and let's keep going through the pandemic. In the United States, I mean, they had a military junta. They had all kinds of stuff happen this year. That was just all kinds of crazy going on.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny, you're talking about the insurrection. I said, right, and I had this argument with a friend of mine, and I said, there will be some sort of attack after, with that whole thing going on. And it was, no, nothing's going to happen. And I remember on January the 7th, my friend Al sent me a direct message and went, oh my God, you were right.
Was this Al Jorgensen from Ministry?
Yeah, no, yeah,
Uncle Al?
no,
Uncle Al? That
no,
crazy
no,
bastard?
not Uncle Al. But
Uncle Al.
and I said you just knew that this was going to happen. You just knew there was so much anger. But the thing that made me the saddest about that whole situation was the week later when there was the pictures of the National Guard, sitting in the Capitol, kind of taking a rest, sitting outside, taking a rest. And I thought to myself, I went, oh my God, this is terrifying to see military kind of like around government buildings. Because as you said, you think of that, and I hate saying it this way, but I don't mean it in disrespect, but you think about that in El Salvador and countries that are regularly having coups and things like that. And it was like, oh my God, this is the United States of America, and they're fighting.
Yeah.
It was a scary thing.
It's really sad to see our neighbors in such a disarray. But the reality is that they're so politically divided. They're so socially divided. These are people who think that healthcare is a communist thing. I just have to shake my head and go, oh my gosh, okay. I'm glad to be a Canadian, and have socialized medicine and I think kind of reflecting back on 2020 and 2021 being really the same shit show 2020 was, just with a different number. And thinking that thankfully our government has done a lot of good early on to kind of protect all of us. Obviously we're going to be paying for it for a very long time, but we got to get out of this. We just got to get out of this one way or another.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Now, and it's funny, talking about paying for things, right? And I always and I got into this discussion about the difference between, say, our healthcare system and something like the United States. And I said, we do pay for our healthcare.
Certainly, yep. By the way, it's $7,000 per every man, woman, and child in Canada.
Right, exactly, right. And I said, but the thing is, we pay for it. Our gas is more expensive. Our a bottle of booze is 2.5 times the price. But with that being said, I'm totally comfortable paying with it for the simple reason, if I have to go into the hospital, I'm good with it. But I'm good if my neighbor takes advantage of my $7,000 or $8,000 I spent. I spent the money anyways. May as well use it. It's right. And then that's the thing. It's. I guess I don't understand why anybody would ever begrudge having to spend some money and.
Yeah, I don't know. If you go look at the facts, you look at the numbers, it's around $700 to $7,500 to $7,800 between all the G20 countries, all of those who have a national healthcare, kind of universal healthcare system. When you look at the United States is topping around $11,500 per every man, woman, and child in the United States, and it's not universal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, no, and that's the thing, right? So when I was married, my ex-wife worked for Henry Ford Health System.
Right.
Great place. I remember her coming home saying, "Hey, I've made the 90 days. We can get health care through Henry Ford." And I went, "How much?" And I went, "Huh." That's pretty much half your salary almost. Right? It was so expensive. I'm like, we'll just stick with the one that we have in Canada and through my work and stuff like that. It'll save us some money, But that's the thing. It's the haves and have nots. So it's I don't know. I look at it like this. One of the things of 2021, I'm still truly glad to be a Canadian. When people say, "Well, what about all the mistakes that happened in the country?" I'm like, yeah, you know what? We're not perfect.
Yeah.
But all in all, I can't really complain too much either.
Right. Any other wishes for 2022?
More food.
Oh God.
So, but see, that was one of the things that I loved about 2021. So I rediscovered cooking again. Right. So I really actually enjoyed kind of doing some experimenting in the kitchen. And it was, and well, 2 out of the 3. So I never, ever, ever did takeout. Like, I was never a big takeout guy. Thanks to the pandemic and not wanting to go out, I've rediscovered the joys of ordering out. So that's not the kids, that right. So, like today I could have Thai, tomorrow I could have Indian, and then I'm going to just have Italian sandwiches delivered to me. But there's one thing that I learned early on in 2021 was something called Pantry Meals. And it's basically a game you play with yourself. You go into your pantry and you create a meal with all this shit that's in your thing. So you take the lima beans,
and you have 5 minutes.
And yeah, well, kind of almost like a game show in your own house. And I created some absolutely incredible meals and from Pantry Meals. And the other thing I discovered in 2021 is the beauty of mushrooms again. I have eaten so many mushrooms and so many different styles of mushrooms this year. I mean, some really good. Some I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'll ever try that one again. Yeah. But it's been fun. It's been cool like that.
Yeah, I think food-wise, discovery-wise, herbe de Provence was something that I discovered early in the year.
Nice.
Yeah, just a wonderful blend of all kinds of herbs, but it has also lavender in it, which is what makes it so much different than a poultry spice or anything else that's out there. I've always loved cooking. You know that. I'm a big cooking guy. I love my Kamado. I love doing stuff, slow and low and smoke it and. Away we go. So, cooking's great. But, for 2021, I would love to lose about 75 pounds. Get back to
perhaps you should stop being such a good cook.
I know. Maybe I'd love to get back to my ultra marathon running weight. One of these days. But I don't know. So, it's such a shit show. So.
We'll see. So what I used to do, because I used to doing the radio and doing all the club stuff. January 2nd, I used to quit drinking. And I would not drink again until my birthday, which is January 3rd. No, but I would go from January 2nd to March the 1st with no alcohol. And I would have a drink on my dad's birthday and my mom's birthday. So the 15th of January, and then the 23rd of January. And I wouldn't even usually have a drink on Valentine's Day.
And that wasn't court ordered?
No, it wasn't court.
Yeah.
Wow. No, because it would kind of remind me just to kind of almost cleanse my body again. Because the last 6 weeks of the year, you're busy, you're out. Everything I was doing was always sponsored by a liquor company. And I said, I think this year I'm gonna try to do the same thing. I may not go as hardcore where it's like I'm done drinking, but I think it's gonna sound weird when I'm gonna say this, but in 2022, from like the 2nd to my birthday, I'm going to try to swear off beer. I'm going to try to swear off all beers because here's my problem with beer.
What's your problem with beer, Greg?
So I can drink whiskey, go right to bed. I can drink a glass of wine, go right to bed. I drink 2 beers. I have to eat something and snack. Nothing else makes me snack. Beer makes me snack, and I know why now.
Why?
Because when we were in university days,
yes,
right? What would you do? We'd go out drinking. We'd stay out till 3 a.m, and then it would be like, let's go get poutine.
Let's go to Ferraris.
That's right. We'd always go out to eat after drinking, and it was always we drank beer because it was the cheapest.
Yeah.
It was that whole thing. So beer is food to me. And now that I'm in my mid-50s, my metabolism has said, beer, food, flab. So I'm gonna lay off beer for 2 months. Wish me luck on that.
Yeah. Fair enough. In my office. So I have a home office. I've had a home office, my God, since I think 2007. And in the home office, I have my desk, and then right next to my desk is a kegerator.
Which I love.
Bad. Yeah, right. And right now it's filled with honey brown from Sleeman's, but it's hard to kind of give up honey brown Sleeman's ice cold out of a tap.
But Did you notice I didn't say I'm giving up all alcohol?
Yeah, just your beer.
Yeah,
not,
just
not,
your beer.
not Uzinski's beer. I'm drinking that shit.
Oh, yes. Yeah, no, I just, you know what? Somebody said this to me long time ago. And I'm going to go into 2022 with this view. And it was, there's nothing wrong with being excited for the future. The past won't mind. And that's how I'm going to go into this year.
But the past is a dumpster fire. I mean,
well,
it really is,
yeah.
Greg. I mean, this year was absolutely the worst year for me. And 2020 is a close second. And there's a whole host of reasons why. But the last time I actually professionally worked was September of 2019 with the Red Wings in Hockeytown 5K.
Wow.
And you were there.
Yeah. I was, yeah.
And
good. So it's my fault. I killed it.
That's right. And that is the last time I've actually our company physically put on a large scale event. And we're going to announce next week that we're going to open up Canada Day as a race in Amherstburg as a 5K for July 1st. I really don't care. Like, we need to get this race in. So it's going to open up. But it's just been that dreadful. For those of us who are in the public event entertainment business, it has just been devastating.
Yeah, I can believe it. It's yeah. I mean, work wise for me, 2021 was unique. I've done some things I'm not proud of right now.
I'm not going to say it. I was going to say something about a male escort, and I'm not even going to make that joke because it's 2021 still. Oh my God. What a terrible fucking year. Anyway.
Yes. You know what? I'm going to be positive. 2022
Sure.
is going to be better for all of us. Yeah. I think we all deserve it, and if not, that no beer until March 1st. Screw it.
It is what it is. You know what I mean? And you have to take it all one day at a time. We'll get through this. We'll get through everything, and everything's so fluid in the way schools are responding to students. I mean, I teach at the college, and, and again, we see the fluidity of, kind of responsibility of schools and school boards making kind of different decisions, and we have to go with it, and we'll get through it. There'll be a light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, the virus will die off, and we'll move on. But wow, it's taking a while.
And you're exactly right. And the one thing that I want to say to some people is, what the one thing is, just be kind. I said, so many people, if you post something, right, and this is, I think, and this is the one thing, you don't always have to be 100% correct. If somebody posts something that might be just a little bit wrong about the way they named their food, you don't have to correct them. If it's the as opposed to la, whatever, just who cares? It's not that important. It's not going to change any. You don't always have to be the smart one. Sometimes just let it go. And that was the one thing my dad would always say. He said, even a fish wouldn't get caught if it kept its mouth shut sometimes. And as I get older, the more I believe that. So many times I'm like, I don't care.
So be a fish and shut up.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Oh, buddy, Happy New Year, man. Happy New Year.
My friend, I love you.
Best.
Thank you for being my friend.
Yeah.
You and your family are absolutely some of my favorite human beings in the world.
Well,
I love you.
Love you too, man. All the best. And to all of our listeners, thank you for all your support this year and all of your comments, and keep it coming. And we'll see you guys early next year.
Please stay healthy and happy.
You bet. Happy New Year, everybody.